another show from Straight from the Paws. Today I have some very exciting news to share with you. At least I'm excited about it, and I know that Cindy and Casey, my two guests, are also excited about it, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, okay. In case you don't know, this is Cindy Barad Kadima, and she is the ACO supervisor in Fall River, and sitting next to me is Casey Fredette. He's Forever Paws administrator, shelter administrator. And who would like to break the exciting news? Cindy,
it's your
turn.
Fall River Strays are now going to be held at Forever Paws in Fall River, which is awesome. So very excited about that.
Yes.
We're all pretty excited. Currently, we take, as many people know, we take the animals from the city of New Bedford, which produces a lot of dogs and a good amount of cats, some birds, rabbits, etc. We take animals from the town of Westport, and so now we'll be able to take the strays from our very own city, right in Fall River, which will hopefully be a big help to the residents that won't have to travel so far now to get their stray animals back, and we'll be able to shorten the time that it takes for people that find a stray near the shelter on Linwood Street, that then bring it to the shelter, and then we have to call the good folks at Animal Control, hold the animal. They have to come down to Linwood, pick the animal up, then take the animal off. So we're hopeful that it'll save time for people in the city, for the animal control officers.
It's going to be awesome.
And it'll give us a new variety of animals.
Let's hope so.
Different locations.
Yep.
I know that Fall River has gotten some fascinating things. The one that keeps standing out to me is the iguana.
Oh yes, we get iguanas. We've had alligators and all kinds of things. You're going to have all kinds of things in your shelter.
It's exciting.
Exciting for Casey, and people might wonder, why exactly did we decide to go for the bid this year? And I think basically, what has always been, and we've told the public, is that we're a no-kill shelter, so that was an issue, but that has been, taken care of, and we've worked all the statistics out, and I'm very confident now that with Casey in charge, I think that we'll be able to turn out the numbers and get the animals out of the building as quickly as possible. And I also think even like when we have, like you said, when people call for strays and they get very distraught customers, I would like to say, or owners, I should call them, that call up and say, well, where's my dog? And we say, we have to call animal control. And we try to, in the past, at least give them the idea where it is, rather than having poor Cindy. We only have currently 2 animal control officers in the city, and that's not a lot. And people complain, well, how come they're not on duty 24/7? Well, they're not the police, and it's a very, very difficult job. And I commend you for what you do, Cindy.
Thank you.
It's a difficult. We know it's a difficult task, and sometimes we end up being the people that get yelled at and abused quite a bit, to say the least. But I think that you've always been very good with our relationship as far as moving the animals back where they're supposed to be and letting people know what's going on. One of the good things that comes to my mind was that when when I blame you, Cindy, took some gentleman's, and I use that term loosely, resident of Fall River's dog, and he wasn't supposed to have it, and then all of a sudden the man came in and went in and robbed our shelter and stole a dog that looked similar to his dog, but he knew it wasn't his dog, but he wanted a dog, so he took the dog from us. And you had emphatically said to him, the dog is not there. But he didn't believe you. I don't know why. You have such an innocent face. I don't understand why the man
really
didn't
wasn't
believe
there.
you. Yeah, so we have lots of stories we could share that are not always very pleasant, but I think I'm excited about the news. I've been doing this for Forever Paws for 20 years, and we did originally have the Fall River contract, and then we didn't have it, and then we had to go to New Bedford. We got New Bedford's contract, and we've been very comfortable with that. We've learned a lot along the way, and very confident. Again, I say that Casey is going to be able to turn the dogs around, cats around, and we've had some different animals. Recently we had a pig. We've had some birds.
We had a pig that came out of Fall River that was surrendered, that had been living in a 3rd floor walk-up. We've definitely we take in a lot of Fall River animals that are straight surrenders. But this will add the component of some of the strays that have either been abandoned or lost, or any number of ways an animal ends up wandering the streets of Fall River on its own. So it'll hopefully be great in that we'll have more dogs and more cats.
Lucky you.
We'll be able to offer a larger variety and more animals out to the general public. We've been doing very well for the last year or so, where we average, I think it was about 38 animals a month that we get adopted out.
Wow, that's great.
Last month was 45 animals that were adopted out.
That's really cool.
So
that's awesome.
Guinea pigs, rabbits, gerbils, obviously cats and dogs.
Rodents, let's not forget my favorite.
Oh yeah, the rats. Yep.
Yes.
We took rats, which were surrendered to the shelter, not stray rats. We try and stay away from those.
I can't bring you those.
Yeah, no, we try and stay away from those. And we've definitely, since I've been at the shelter, we've had the chance to work with Fall River Animal Control here and there. I finally have learned Cindy's name, so that's a big step for the relationship, as opposed to the tall animal control officer from Fall River versus the shorter one. But they've been very helpful in everything we've needed. We had the fawn recently.
Oh my gosh,
We
yeah,
had
you helped us with that. That was
a
awesome.
resident come in with a fawn, which I'm sure Cindy can help mirror me on this, of leaving wildlife alone, letting wildlife be wild, and how important that is. But we were able to work together with the state to return the fawn to where it went. So hopefully we'll be able to continue working together in an easy way.
I think it's great. I think for us it opens up a lot of resources that we didn't have as well. We're still going to continue to work with the Humane Society. Fax and Animal Rescue League has offered to help us. So I think it's just everybody working together as opposed to just one shelter taking on the whole brunt of everything. So you guys have a ton of resources that we weren't even aware of until we started talking about this. So it's just good. It's all around good for the animals. I think more animals are going to find homes this way. So.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit of history lesson. Cindy and I, not at the same time, I'd like to say it was, but it wasn't. We graduated from the same college together, and then she went on and she actually worked for us for a while. We were on Montauk Street. So she started off as an assistant manager at Forever Paws, and Cindy and I have sort of kept a friendship going on, and just have always been able to contact each other when things were happening and everything. So very happy to see you back on board with us.
Me too, I'm excited.
Home week for me. It's, I'm really excited about it. I don't show my exciting like you do, but I am really excited, right, Casey?
We don't have Bev today,
No,
so
we don't.
the excitement factor here is not what it would be if we had your co-host.
That's right. My co-hosts were here today. She would be really excited, and but I'm sorry, I'm not as animated as she is. But I do have the history. At least I remember that, and I think it's going to work out super well.
I do too. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, we're, and I think as looking at numbers and stuff, I think New Bedford and Fall River are comparable in numbers, but I think that again, because when you look at 40-something animals last month, the staff is all excited about it. I think they're ready. We obviously will have to hire some more staff to help us, but if you haven't been down to the shelter, we've come a long way. We really have. I mean, Cindy, I think you hadn't been around there in a while, and you were, how did you feel?
I was so impressed by the shelter. Casey, I think you've done an amazing job. I went away from there bragging about you and crossing my fingers that you guys wouldn't take the contract because I was so excited about just the changes you've made in there. But I remember when Forever Paws was just crates in like an old building. So, I mean, really, you guys have come a long way with that shelter. So
that we have. We really have. And I think also, too, that I think the fact that you mentioned some other, the other shelters as well, that's always been my goal. I mean, we're all here for the animals. We're not here to be, I'm the best shelter, or, I'm the worst shelter, or, that's my dog, that's your, we always wanted to share and let people know that this is what we're for. We're here for the animals. And some people have been asking, and I just want to maybe both of you could address this a little off subject, but sort of on animals. We don't have a lot of puppies anymore. Now, I tell people that's a good thing, but you want to talk a little bit about that? Cindy, are you getting puppies?
We are not getting very many puppies, and I think it's just spay and neuter. People are spaying and neutering more. I think the animal control officers are more educated now, so I think, you know, we hand out vouchers all the time for spay and neuter. We have a program where we can help people get free spays and neuters, which is great. So the more spay and neuter, the better. I mean, less homeless animals. So I think we've done it with dogs. I think we just have to work on cats a little bit more. We still have a lot of kittens around, so that.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
Which even when you adopt from the shelter, a lot comes with it. I don't know how much we've ever touched on this in the past, but when you adopt, you pay the adoption fee, and included in the adoption fee, every animal is either spayed or neutered before they leave, unless there's a medical reason for them to have to wait. In that case, we hand out the voucher, and they do get done when they're healthy enough or old enough. So we send out every animal already sterilized, so they're not going to be reproducing. Right. We vaccinate them, obviously, rabies, the distemper. We microchip all of our animals.
That's awesome.
In the hope that if they do get lost, which we don't want them to, they'll be returned home. The animal control officers, pretty much everywhere, they have a microchip scanner. All of the vet hospitals have a microchip scanner. So that's something that we're able to offer to people adopting from us, which historically could be prohibitively expensive, but now is much more manageable. It's part of the adoption fee. It's not an extra. You just go online, fill out a form. You don't pay any more money to fill out the form. You enter your information, and that way, if the dog or cat slips out a window, I recently, our neighbors adopted a small dog, and my wife and I met the dog because it came flying out of their spare bedroom window.
Oh my God.
It came zipping right out the window, right through the screen, which happens with anyone.
Absolutely.
You can never,
happen.
yeah, you can never safeguard that you won't have an animal get out. One of the fun parts about animals is they have minds of their own. So it's great to be able to take every animal that is adopted from Forever Paws, every dog or cat at least, and microchip it, know that it's sterilized, it's not going to continue reproducing. It does lead to a decrease in available puppies and kittens, but like Cindy said, we still do have lots of kittens that come through, but there's been a huge shift in even just the mentality of the general public on spaying and neutering. It's, at least generally speaking, it's no longer this uncertainty in the minds of the public of, oh, should we really spay or neuter? Oh, it's mean. They should at least be able to have a litter of puppies or a litter of kittens so that they know the joys of parenthood. Which, as a parent, I'm not sure I subscribe to that theory. I think some of them are getting off easy personally, but also there are a lot of health things that that we see, and I'm sure Cindy is aware of. There are certain cancers that letting an animal remain intact, that they're susceptible to. The females can have the pyrometria, which is a buildup of fluid. And all of this, in addition to being uncomfortable for the animals, in addition to being a risk to their general health, is also really expensive to treat and to fix and to work on the animals. So being able to cut that off, pun intended, ahead of the issues, it's a good thing. It's definitely the flip side to not seeing as many puppies, not having the same availability of puppies that there may have been even just 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The kittens, again, it's a steady flow of kittens, but it's not, we don't see the flood of kittens that we once saw, that there are just kittens everywhere. There's kittens walking down the street, there's kittens in sheds, there's kittens anywhere you look. There are less, a lot, but there are less. And the animal control officers have definitely worked hard at trying to help with different programs. There are groups nearby, right in the city here, in neighboring cities, in neighboring Rhode Island, because it touches, that work on what is now, I'm told, referred to as trap, neuter, return. It used to be trap, neuter, release, but now it's trap,
return.
neuter, return for some reason.
Who makes up these rules?
I don't know. I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay. Nor were we. Where was Cindy?
I was not informed.
No, but it takes the strays that are feral, that aren't candidates for being house cats. It gets them some basic medical care, gets them altered so that they're spayed or neutered, gets them some vaccine, so at least they have a vaccine in their system, even if they're never vaccinated again, and it returns them to where they rightfully belong, because with a lot of these ferals at that point, they are wild animals.
Absolutely.
And I would no sooner want a raccoon living in my house. It would be unhappy.
Understood.
Yep.
And you even, a lot of your places, they clip the ears.
We do the ear tips.
You do
yeah.
the clip ears so that, yeah, I mean, it's sad in a way. People say, well, how do we get puppies? Well, there's a certain way of going around and kittens too. There's a certain way, but I do agree. I mean, I think, it sounds crazy, but the goal would be of a shelter like ours to be able to almost close down.
Yes.
Yes. So that we don't have all these animals that are abused and abandoned and just reproducing unmercifully. We've seen the results of dogs that have been, had puppy after puppy after puppy. And as Casey pointed out, the illnesses that come afterwards it's horrific. Yeah. It's really horrific. So, yeah, I think we're on the right track,
Absolutely.
So I may be able to get to retire sooner than I thought.
You've been saying that for 10 years.
I know, but it's getting closer. Look, you got to give me a gift here.
10 years.
Yeah, no, you got to give me a little bit more here. At least we're going in the right direction. We're not going backwards. Cindy, a question for you and for our audience is that your hours that you work, so people understand like what's the call system and how that works.
So animal control is on 8 to 4 every single day, Saturdays, Sundays. We, on holidays and after hours, so from 4 p.m. until 8 o'clock the next morning, somebody is on with the emergency phone. So if there's an emergency, you'd have to call it into the police department, and they'll decide if it's an emergency, and one of us will go out and handle it. So 24 hours a day, really, somebody's available if there is an emergency.
So there is someone available in the city, because people would say, oh, they don't answer their phone. I mean, obviously, if there's only 2 of you on, and you're out on a call, and Corinne's out on a call, no one can answer the phone. And I hope that the audience needs to understand that.
Yeah, they should really listen to my voicemail, because they should really leave messages if it's not an emergency. If it is an emergency, they should call the police station right away, because they can dispatch us out if we're on, and if we're at home on call, they can just call the call phone and we'll run out and assist. So
is it fair to say that most people don't listen and they just...
I think it's just a really long message, so it's hard for people to listen, but they really should try.
Okay, so that's like doctor's offices. Now they, when you call in, they ask you 1,000,000 questions before you actually get to the numbers that you need to code in. So just be a little bit more patient and give Cindy an opportunity. And it also helps you, and it helps everyone else that's in line for the calls. Which is important. And I just was at a neighborhood meeting last night, and a police officer came and gave a great presentation, and his name was Jim Smith. I remember that was an easy name to remember, see? And he was awesome. He did a great job, but he also talked about, even with the police department, how they don't have as many police officers as they've had in the past. So when they get a dispatch and they have certain, information coming in, one may be a number 1 prior, but then all of a sudden you get moved down to a 3 or 4, because now we've got something else going on.
Absolutely.
That's important. And that happens also in the animal world.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to do the emergencies first, so that barking dog complaint might not get addressed the day you call it in, unfortunately. And there's only 2 of us on right now. We're short-staffed, so it's extra hard, because we're stretching that between 7 days. So that means 4 out of those 7 days, there's only 1 person on for the entire city. So it's a little rough.
that is really tough. Hopefully you get someone else on soon. And again, that's a difficult situation, because it's hard to get people that are qualified and know what they're doing. You've got to train them, and it doesn't always work.
No, it's a really hard job. There's a lot expected of you, or anything that involves any kind of animal is animal control's problem. So it could be a rat problem, it could be dog problem, it could be horses behind a mill, which I've had. It could be anything. So it's a lot. It's a lot when we're short-staffed, and it's a lot for a new person to take in.
You've worked, actually, I know you come and take care of bats as well.
We do bats, we do wildlife, we do anything that involves any animal, farm animals, everything. So.
Wow.
Well, and even when you're full staffed, or you have an extra person, you still have 3 people covering 7 days a week, covering a city of, I don't know the city's population
I think it's
roughly.
about 80,000. The police officer said around, I think, 80
Okay,
or
so
90,000.
you have 3 people versus roughly an 80,000 population. It's a large city.
That's the problem. We get probably 100 cases a month that we have to address. Animals, including the wild animals, the sick animals that have to get put to sleep, probably an average of 80 animals a month in the city. So that's 3 people handling all of that. On the weekends, we only have 1 person on. We have double staff Mondays and Fridays, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have all of us on. But there's vacation time, there's sick time, there's, so it's not always that. It's tricky.
And this is a city, but you also have neighborhoods. You have the more traditional neighborhoods and the pets that come along with that. You mentioned certain farm animals.
We have everything. We have city people, dogs that live in apartments, and then we have Meridian Street with, farms and dogs living outside, and we have the city is crazy. It has everybody.
And you have waterways too.
Yes, we have the
So
waters.
you have basically every animal from A to Z that you could possibly have within a city limit.
Yeah.
Did we sign that paper yet?
No.
Sign the paper. It makes the job really fun, and my coworker and I love the job. So if you love it, it's great. It's variety all the time. You never know what you're walking into, which is awesome. But if you're a person who's a little bit nervous or just hesitant or maybe doesn't like it as much as we do, it's a scary job, I think, for somebody who's not all in.
And that's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Which I don't think people necessarily think of, because
Right.
you have the police department, you have the fire department, you have the paramedics, and they're covering that same city, but there's a firehouse in every section. There are generally there's a very large police force that is covering the same, and not every one of those 80,000 people are going to have an animal,
Right.
but also some of them are going to have 20 animals.
Right, and sometimes we'll get called from the north end all the way to the south end, back to the middle, and it's a lot. The day goes by very fast.
So people, I think the idea for our audience that we're trying to portray is be patient.
Please.
Please understand she's only one person, and and her colleague that works with her. And it's also the same thing, again, for our city of New Bedford. They have the same situation. Right now, they're down to 1 ACO right now.
That's
and I can't even, imagine how that's going. So, that's difficult. And people have to be a little, I ask you cautiously to be patient, understanding. And, when they see them, tell them what a good job they're doing, appreciate what they've done. Some people do that, I think, Cindy.
A lot of people.
That's good.
We have great people in the city.
That's good. So people, understand what's happening. And I think that's good.
And it's great for us as a shelter, because working with the animal control departments that we do, and we work with animal control departments, obviously, that we're not contracted with.
Sure.
We work with programs set up through the state of Massachusetts that helps animal control departments that might not have a shelter, might have a limited contract, whatever the reason might be, place animals that are highly adoptable, but that they don't have the space or room for. So we get to work with a lot of animal control departments, and especially we see with Fall River, and we see with New Bedford and some of the other ones, that animal control obviously is spread thin. There are only so many people to so many animals, and the animal control officers, in my experience and the experience that we've seen in the shelter, and especially with these 2 cities, they're people that care, that are doing it not so that they can get rich by any means,
True.
but because they genuinely care about animals. They're not animal DSS or what, DCF. They're not the animal control department of Secret Life of Pets or other fictional worlds. They are people that care about animals, that have left many, in my experience, have left many restaurants to have to go get growled at and
oh my gosh, yes.
by all sorts of animals. So, and I've seen it personally with, like I said, these 2 animal control departments, where they have the animals, the kittens that need to be bottle fed every few hours. They have them at home, not because they're getting paid for those hours, but because they're dedicated, they care. And that's why, especially for us, having the New Bedford contract and getting this Fall River contract, it's great, because it's generally speaking, at least, similar mentalities, working as hard as we can to help the animals and give them the best possible life. And being able to partner with Cindy and Corinne currently, and whoever else might come along in the future, hopefully, it gets similar-minded people with similar goals put together and working towards helping the city, helping the community, and most importantly, helping the animals.
Well said.
Every so often, I say
every
that.
so often, you do a great job. And I just want to also say, in as a counterpart and the partnership with that, is that I will say that our staff, and by Casey's leadership, has really changed. I mean, our staff does the same thing. If there's babies that have to be bottle fed, or there's a sick animal, we told Cindy we have a great foster program, and a lot of them is our own staff people that want to take the animals home and want to help them. And I think we all have the same mindset. And I want to also ask the community and tell people too. I know in the past people have said to me, well, I'd volunteer, but you don't take Fall River animals. Well, we do have a great volunteer program. And we are always looking for dedicated volunteers that want to help. We give back to the community. We've got an exciting program. I won't mention the school because I'm not sure that it's going to definitely happen, but Casey and I have been working with a teacher that wants to bring her students in the fall and read to the cats.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that new program. And we do a lot of, I do a lot of mentoring for high school programs and students and their senior projects and so on. And we've had Eagle Scout programs. And recently, as a thing that Bev would be really excited about, so I'll punch it in for her, is that we're actually at play yards out front and for the dogs. We've been waiting, we've done all kinds of different things, but we actually now have someone that we're getting the roofs put on.
That's awesome.
Had different groups that have helped us out, a Bishop Conley group, a UMass Dartmouth group, and one of our board members, one of the places of employment, she got us a grant. So we've put a lot of money together, and we're able to have the roofs put on the play yards. The dogs are outside playing in little pools and kiddie pools in the summertime.
Really
You'll see
cool.
that. So it's really, we could continue to expand, even though we don't have a lot of room. We continue to expand. So I think if you're really interested and you're really, challenging people that said, I would have come down. Well, now you can come down because now we have Fall River contract. And we're really excited about work with Cindy and Corinne. And
we're excited too.
I think we're going to just making sure that he behaves himself. He's very good. He can look very upset at times, but he's really a nice man. And we get along, everyone down there gets along really well. And I'm very proud of our staff. I think they're doing a very professional job.
They work hard.
And they work very, very hard. And we're all there for the animals.
Yeah.
So Cindy and Casey, I want to thank you both for coming in today. I really enjoyed working with you, and I look forward to our partnership in the future. And here we go.
Me too. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.